This is the Arcturian 103 Collective, channeling through Kalina. Tonight we're going to talk about something that might be deemed as a fairly common topic or theme. That has to do with what many would call healing the inner child. The truth is, it's not the inner child that needs to be healed. It's your perception of what a child is, what it means to be a child. There are perceptions of innocence, openness, opportunities, idealisms on what childhood means and what you should receive from your experience of childhood. These expectations cause more pain when you gaze upon your past, your childhood. Before we get into what your inner child really is, we want to talk about trauma and issues around safety. The reason that you get confused between your childhood or child wounds, as many of you call them, the reason that many of you dwell in that space is because when you come into this world, you are met with challenges from the very beginning. For even those of you who have had what you would say is the best opportunity or the kindest parents, the best opportunities, you will still inevitably be met with certain hardships in life. For if you live long enough, you'll experience the death of loved ones. You'll experience physical pain, loss in all varieties, disappointments, pain in various types of relationships, broken expectations of how certain dreams should go. There's a multitude of things. And the reason that we get hung up on or call it a place or space from healing your child self is simply that you are a very young person. You depended on others and you were vulnerable. That was your first pain from the time you were in the womb. For you could not select what you would be eating. You are vulnerable to the very first environment, being nourished, nurtured, and yet within each human being, just like the very planet that you all dwell upon, has a myriad of energies from the father and the mother passed down right from the womb, and when you exit the womb, so many different kinds of energies bombarding you at all times. Energies bombarding you, many of which you're not even aware of what is bombarding you. We don't want to just say bombarding you, for it's more that you pick up on the various energies that cascade around you, and even more so that you create back. How you react, how you receive what you create together, co-creatively. So the inner work has to do with healing your trauma. You confuse it with the childhood, inner child work. But the truth is, let's say that your parents, a parent in particular, hurt you. Perhaps that parent was hurt too, and it began early on. So the work really has to do with releasing trauma, learning how to let go. Many of you have identified so much with your trauma and with the pain that you don't know how to unravel it from yourself. But it's like a knot in your hair. And if you put oil or some kind of hair lotion in it and work out the knot, you will see that all along it was hair and simply in a knot. Energetically, this is you. You are not truly damaged. Your energy is simply in knots because you don't feel safe. We know that it would be insensitive of us to pretend like you all don't have challenges here. You do. We see them, and we see them many times through Kalina and what you all go through. And our hearts sincerely go out to all of you. And we admire and love you and all of your bravery for all that you go through. And so we say this with love to all of you, that despite all of the hardships that you may find yourself in at times, as well as wonderful times that many of you all will also experience, you must realize that you are not your hardships. You do not have to succumb to the pain or the sadness. You can feel it and let it go through you. You do not have to weave it into your personality. You do not have to accept the knot. You are not damaged. Even if someone is telling you you're mentally ill or that you have some sort of mental situation, these are simply flavors of the rainbow of the tapestry that you are. We are sometimes born, humans and extraterrestrials and other beings alike, with certain preconditions that we want to experience in our lives. That is not our soul. Our soul, a part of the higher self, wants to express and experience certain energetic imprints. But you, as a fractal of that higher self, you as this spark, this soul, you come down into these bodies and you experience a myriad of situations. You can have a hurricane all around you, but that will never change or stop what you truly are inside. which is this divine creative force. You have come here to stretch these spiritual muscles of yours. You have come here to help create in a co-creative and even a co-destructive environment. For even in that destruction, there is more creation. When a creature dies, say an earthworm, and it breaks down into the soil, other beings emerge through that breakdown or destruction. So rather than hanging on to trauma, connecting with that higher part of yourself and seeing that you too can create the soil of the soul and of your heart and create what you define as good. And this isn't always easy to do in the moment, depending on what you're going through and how heavy it is. And we truly acknowledge that. You're just saying you do not have to identify any longer from this point on, knowing this truth, that your past does not define you. What you've been born into, even the blueprint in which you intended, these are simply influencers of your original intentions before you incarnated into this body. But you are the ones, the parts of yourselves that are here to experience the creation of this particular reality that you're building. So if you're ready to untangle the not you from you, the things that you're experiencing, realizing that you are still whole and intact, you're complete, and there's nothing wrong with you, even if you're missing a limb, even if you're missing some senses. You are always you, outside of the personality self, outside of the body. Only usually when you hear people refer to this, they talk about detaching yourself from your body or your personality self or even your ego. We're not teaching you to do that. We are simply requesting that you take the time, if you are so willing and interested, to observe that these are more as tools for you to serve you, the true you inside. That these are like spices in the food that you wanted to create in this life, and you can modify what you've been given, what you, more than given, what you decided to come in with. Yes, you did decide certain circumstances, even the hard ones, and we know that is so hard for so many of you all to hear. But the reality is, from life to life, you've had times where you've been what you call the victim, times where you were the perpetrator, and more often than not, you play both roles within the same life in different points of time, and sometimes at the same time. What we are suggesting that you continuously bring your attention to the reality of who you really are, that divine spark within you that is not really a spark, but is a flame, a blaze. Your soul, your flame, more than just your essence. And you can bring more and more of yourself in if you are willing to not over-identify or identify at all with the pain or the circumstances around you. If you can dive so deeply into yourself, into who you truly are, then you'll see that the inner child work that you're referring to is not inner child work. It is the start of identification from the time you were as young as you could remember, that you began to feel the pain and you were confused. For when you are small, you are just starting to understand language, and you can't always feel safe to speak out your true feelings. Most of you, if not all of you, listening to this, have been punished for expressing your feelings, your emotions in a raw and uninhibited way. You didn't know the cultural nuances of wherever you were born, or what your parents believed, whatever religious or non-religious nuances, expectations, that we could go on. There are so many examples that we could give. Our point, though, to bring into the childhood thing, the healing of, is more that you're wanting to heal that part of you that felt and feels, continues to feel even in your adult bodies. Or for those of you that may be listening that happen to not quite be in adult bodies yet, you feel misunderstood. And you would be surprised at how many human beings feel misunderstood by other human beings. It's virtually everyone in this world. For there isn't the merging of closeness on this particular level of consciousness. Although there is a layer above that you can begin to understand and merge when you start to remember that everyone around you is another version of yourself in the ultimate sense. It takes time to really, truly, to be aware of this even at our level that we are on as well. So what you're really looking for when you let go of the trauma is not childhood releasing. You want the trauma, not just from your childhood, to be released, but to know how to release trauma at all times, for you'll always be processing trauma at all points of time in this life. We know many of you may not want to hear that, but you are in a human body, which is a very highly developed animal, and you have a nervous system, and you need to be able to shake things off. You need to be able to breathe. If someone cuts you off when you're driving, do you not jump a little bit at that? That helps to protect you. It puts you in the mode that you need to be to react. And then you need to be able to release it. But many of you don't know how. So it stores in your body, and it can lead to repercussions. If you're angry and you don't know how to release it, it can turn into cancer. It can create such an acidity in your body. It can create certain cravings. You're not even aware of what you're doing, because You didn't know how to release the trauma because you were identifying with that pain so much. You forgot that that pain and that trauma is not you. You simply experienced it in that moment and you didn't know how to let it go in your mind, in your body, and in your heart. So, going back to childlike wonderment. Do you ever notice how easily and flawlessly most children play? Their imaginations, how they're caught up in that moment so completely. Sometimes it can be so hard to get their attention because they are literally in their own universe, in the own world of their mind and their hearts. This is what you're really seeking, is letting go of the trauma so you can go in to that childlike wonderment. You do not have to lose it at any point in time, and you do not have to be a child to be creative. You simply just need to give yourself permission to be childlike again, because you are ultimately a child in this level of consciousness, learning about the amazing potential of everything that you are, unlocking yourself, unwrapping all your beautiful gifts, and all of you have them. All of you. Even if it is simply smiling at others and you happen to have a certain energy about you that permeates into the core of other people's beings and just helps them to heal. Sometimes it's the simplest things, and sometimes it will end up being a beautiful work of art, a song, a mathematical equation. And this is the other thing we want to bring up. Even when people are thinking about the childlike wonderment and creation, almost always people relate it to what they're going to do in terms of working. We are not referring to working, although you can turn it into some form of payment. This is great, doing something that you love for a living, but the word living is the real key. And what you work and how you make money is not the true living. Living is living. You can almost make it synonymous, the word to create and to live. For to live is to create, and to create is to live. And that doesn't mean that you have to be an artist or a musician to create. These are just the easiest examples that people think about. And it's not about doing or working. Creating is being yourself. And that can shift and change at any moment. When someone is so passionate about a garden, they're not just gardening. They are a garden. They are a part of the garden. When they go into the garden and they put their hands in the soil, they feel that deep connection. There is no separation. That garden is part of the family of themselves. That is creation. When your creation comes from a state of being, not so much a state of doing, although you are doing, but your being. And your being is what creates the doing. Your creating is the being creating the doing. and it just effortlessly flows out of you when you're honest and sincere in what you long for. Some of you are not sure how to go about finding this childlike wonderment, because you're still coming from a place of thinking, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know where I want to go. Think about being who you are being. And when we say who you want to be, there's still a separation there. And you're often thinking about other examples and compartmentalizing and listing. What we are suggesting is you really sit within yourself, work with clearing the traumas within yourself, which is letting go of the past, being willing to see and feel, just feel that divine spark in yourself. Follow that, whether you're meditating or taking a walk or drinking a coffee. It's with you all the time because it is you. And when you realize the identity that you seek is the soul within you, the more you connect with your soul, the more you bring more of your higher self down into your soul and become larger. And then you begin to create naturally. Not only are you being, which ends up you doing, creating whatever you want to bring into the world. Things, opportunities, people naturally draw themselves to you. In fact, oftentimes, and more often than not, you are pleasantly surprised, for they find you. Your soul calls like a lighthouse, like a beacon. That thing your fractal self didn't know that you were craving. And it seems like it was brought to you by some sheer luck or fluke, but the truth is you created that energy to draw that to you because you're simply being. And being is what draws you to you. And so how do you be you? Again, as we said, first by accepting that you are a magnificent, divine soul who is deeply loved, is a part of all that is. You are truly a piece, a part of God. And when we say God, we mean this divine intelligence that permeates the universe. Without you, it's just not going to be, because you are all, everything that you truly are, every drop that you are, radiates out on a macrocosmic level, the microcosmic level, and the macrocosmic level. They are one and the same. And without you, it's like pulling a cord and unraveling the fabric of everything that is. You are vital and important. And we know some of you are thinking, well, this is a place of ego. No, this is accepting your divine greatness, all of you. We all are divinely great. Your ego is an energetic organ that's there to protect you. Its intention in building was to help protect the animal of you, the instinct of you, But when you overly identify with your traumas and your pain and you shut your nervous system down, or you continue to make it anxious, not intending to, then your ego begins to take over. When you don't fill yourself up with your soul, when you don't connect with that which is truly you, your true self, and use these spices in which you chose to come in as. And when we say spices, we mean certain personality traits, certain body, certain culture, whatever it is you grew up with. These are the spices and flavors of your life, but they are not you. And you can modify them. You're finding who you truly are. But it's fun. Like a child who celebrates Halloween and puts on a costume. You get into character, you enjoy it, but you're not that character. And you're not that costume. But you enjoy it immensely. It's time now for those of you that really click with this message to open your own heart up to your own self. To forgive your own self, even there's nothing to truly be forgiven. Some of you may feel, of course, that there is. But there's a lot of complexities in this life. Take a deep breath in and just realize that we know it's an old saying, but every day really is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. Don't get caught up or dwell into the past. Unless that's what you want to experience. But if you want to feel the heartbeat of who you truly are, and if you feel truly lost and you're not sure how to feel your soul, to feel your heart, the pulse of who you are, take some time to talk to your higher self, your feelings as raw as they need to be, and ask your higher self to speak to you in a way that you'll understand, to give you signs, to give you something in some way to help guide you back to yourself. And know that you will be okay. For in reality, no matter what happens, we will all be together in this. This is a divine dream. And oftentimes, people ask if this reality is real. We would like to say that the only true thing that is real is all of you and your experiences and the realities in which you are placed upon are the realities that you all have co-created together. And then you are also creating your own internal world. And you do have so much more power than you realize. It just takes an altered way of looking at things. Like the hangman card in the tarot, who is hanging upside down, looking from another perspective. Can you tilt your head and look at your past, present, and future with new eyes? And can you look upon yourself with new eyes, knowing that you are a divine spark, fractal soul, a part of God, of all that is, the fabric of all time, space, reality? You are experiencing the adventure of being a human being on Earth. And if you want to see it as an adventure and create, you can. And we understand that sometimes you'll have times in life where you are having very difficult situations. We understand. In the moments of quietude, when you're getting ready to sleep, when you can have any moment to just connect with who you truly are inside. The more you do that, it will build and grow. And we promise you, something will begin to shift, move, and change. Sometimes not in the way that you expect or you think, but things will move in ways that will absolutely wow you. Give your own self a chance to show you how powerful you are, and begin to realize that as we speak, that you do not need to hold yourself away from you any longer. So meet your soul with childlike wonder and grace, and know that you are safe to explore yourself within yourself. Open your heart and your mind, and no longer ever again let others' words and actions hurt or wound you. For those that do these things to you have forgotten that they too are divine, very loved souls, divine sparks of God, fractals of the all that is. But you, dear ones, you know. You know, and we know you know it because you're listening to this. Even those of you that are the skeptics, that you identify as a skeptic, you've listened this far because you know, and you want to free your heart. And when you free your heart, you feel the pulse of your soul. And the closer you go, you find that that is you. You going into yourself and releasing the ego from the terrible task that it has tried to do for so long as a favor to you, to serve you, so it can get back to its function, which is to help you as an animal survive in the physical world. And you are in charge of your spiritual world. Much love, dear ones. It was a deep, deep pleasure to share this information with you tonight. We send you all the love on your journey. Good night.